What's going on, accountants? Ryan Bakey here again. And in today's video, I'm going to show you why every task in your firm should be built into TaskZone. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what a properly built task looks like inside of TaskZone, why most tasks are set up in a way that still requires you to manage them, and how there's four specific components that turn a task from a suggestion into an actual system. Okay. Always go back to the Domino's example. Think about how a Domino's pizza works. A customer places an order. That can either be online or over the phone. The second that order is confirmed, a ticket automatically prints in the back by the kitchen people. And that ticket tells the team member exactly what needs to happen, what goes on the pizza, what doesn't, whether it's for pickup or delivery, and whether the customer already paid or not. Nobody had to remember to tell the kitchen staff. Nobody had to assign it. The ticket fired off on its own. It landed with a specific person. It had a completion expectation built into it. And it had every instruction the person needed to execute, right? The manager, the person who owns that Domino's, didn't need to touch the order. You, the CPA, you, the accounting firm owner, don't need to touch the order either. They don't need to. The system handles it. Now think about your firm. When a client uploads their tax documents, is there a task that's automatically appearing on your admin or your preparer's plate with a due date and step-by-step instructions on how to do that? Or does someone have to remember to create it, assign it, and tell the person what to do? If it's the second one, that's the Domino's kitchen with no ticket printer. Things get made wrong, things get missed, and the manager is in the weeds all day. So a properly built TaxDome task has four non-negotiable components. Okay. It needs to fire off automatically based on a trigger. Not because someone remembered to create it, it's because something had to happen before that step or that task was created for that task to fire off, right? So go back to the Domino's example. The person working the phone on the front gets the customer's information, gets what they want, puts it in the thing. As soon as the customer is like, all right, I'm done, I'll come pick it up, boom, creates the ticket. Then that ticket automatically starts printing in the back, in the back of the restaurant, right? So there's no like confusion. Like, hey, here's an order, we got it. So that task needs to fire off automatically based on a trigger, whatever came before that, right? I'll let you use your intuition and kind of figure out how you're going to work this in. But that task fires off automatically. That's a very crucial step. Nobody's having to tell it to fire off. That is the sole purpose of this. We wanted it to fire off automatically based on a trigger that already happened before. Okay? What else is a good TaxSum task? It is assigned to one specific person, not a team, not unassigned, not nobody. It gets assigned to one specific person. Why? To clear up any confusion. When you have a task that's assigned to three or four people, two, three, four people, anything more than one, it creates confusion, doubt in your employees' minds of whose task is it? Whose job is it to go roll the dough and put the pepperoni on the pizza? Whose task is it to deliver the pizza to the customer, right? Whose task is it to sort those admin files? Whose task is it to start preparing that return? Who is tasked with reviewing the return, right? So it needs to fire off automatically. It needs to have a single person assigned to it. Now, in a pipeline or a workflow inside of TaxDome, you can have multiple people work inside of a pipeline, all the way from an admin to a preparer to a reviewer, right? But at each stage, it's one task and it's one person assigned to it. Do not get this wrong. It is one person assigned to the task. Okay. The other thing that a task needs to have, so it needs to trigger off automatically. It needs to have one person assigned, and it needs to have a defined due date built in at creation. Okay. So this can flex and this can be, standardized based on what task it is, how long we think it's going to take. but it needs to have that due date built in at creation to be able to tell your team like, hey, this is something that you need to prioritize or you need to work on. Okay. This is something really neat that you could do in Taxsum is every single task you can set up what the due date is and it'll trigger and fire off automatically. Okay. So it needs to fire off based on a trigger. It is assigned to one specific person. It has a defined due date. And the last thing that it needs is it needs to have an SOP for how to complete that task embedded directly in the task description so that the person that's assigned to the task has everything that they need to know and what to do without having to ask anybody else. Okay. They should be able to see the task on their plate, click into it, see which client they're working on, see what they need to do, and see the SOP. Um, Without all four of these components here, tasks become suggestions. The work might get done or it might not. And you will not know until something breaks. You will not know until the client reaches out and says, where's my return at? Where's my refund at? We've all been there before, right? But with all four of these in place, the task is a self-contained environment. It appears at the right time. It lands on the right person's plate. It has a deadline that people are to be held accountable to, and it gives them everything they need to execute. That's the difference between a firm that scales and a firm that just gets busier. Okay. So how you're going to do this is in Taxsum, you're going to set up your task to fire off when it moves into a different pipeline stage. So Taxsum has this unique ability to where when you mark something complete, it'll automatically move into another pipeline or stage, and then it'll fire off another task or whatever you want it to do. You know, when a client moves from organizer sent to documents received, a prep task is going to fire off automatically. It gets assigned to your designated preparer, and it has a due date, 3, 5, 7 days, whatever you set, inside of the task description field, so that you, as a manager or you as an owner, can track that, right? But it also needs to include the step-by-step checklist or SOP right there in the task, so that when the person opens it, they have access to everything that they need to do and what they need to know in order to complete that task. They don't need to find you. That's what's most important. So you want to review your existing tax templates this week and ask if they have all four of these components. If you're missing one of these, it's not good. You want to make sure that you have all four of these inside that fire off with every single task. Okay. So I'll show you. I'll just show you a quick example. So this is a task template inside of Taxstone. Okay. We have one person assigned to it, right? One person, a single person. Okay. We have the SOP that's embedded in here. They can click this link. They could see exactly how to do that task, right? There's a defined due date. Okay. So as soon as that task fires off, boom, it's going to show a due date. It's going to show a start date. It's going to show a due date. Okay. Now, what I mentioned before is that this needs to fire off based on something else. So that's we'll talk about that in future episodes, videos, whatever. But that's where like Taxstum is really neat at. Okay, stage one, stage two, stage three, stage four, stage five. When stage one is complete, boom, it goes off to stage two. When stage two is complete, boom, it fires off. It goes to stage three. It assigns that task. That return does not go through to more stages unless that task is marked complete. Okay. So if triggers automatically, it has one person assigned to it. It has an SOP in there, and then it has due dates. It has embedded due dates inside of the task when it fires off. Now, as a bonus, I would say what I would recommend is you should create subtask within the task itself. Okay. Very important. Okay. I'll give you a couple use cases why this is important. Um, what if somebody starts it but doesn't finish it? Okay. How the hell do they know where they left off? Right. Well, if I'm Arlen and I'm going through and I'm checking and I did all this and then I had to log off for work that day, I know exactly where I left off at when I pick back up. Now, the more probably problematic situation is what happens when somebody gets sick? What happens when somebody's parents get sick? What happens when life happens, right? We had a tax preparer who, unfortunately, before like 2 weeks before April 15th, her mom passed away, right? Well, she's working on 7 to 10 returns. What do we do? Well, that would take having to go contact her, reach out, ask her where she's at in each stage of the process, blah, blah, blah. Those returns will sit there. When instead, like I'm telling you, Taxo makes this super easy. Where if that preparer was going in and marking off the subtask of where he or she was at in the tax return, all you have to do is filter the task by that person's name and assign them to somebody else. And then that person can pick up and they'll know exactly where the other person left off. I'm telling you, you need something like this. Okay. So just to recap, remember guys, a task needs to have an automatic trigger. It needs to fire off automatically. It's not you, the accounting firm owner, telling the person to do that. It needs to fire off automatically based on a trigger. It needs to be assigned to one specific person. One specific person. It needs to have a defined due date built in at creation, and it needs to have the SOP attached inside of the task, embedded in the task description. Okay. So my call to action, what I want you to do is open one of your most used tax templates and tax them right now. Check it against these four components: auto trigger, single signee, due date, embedded SOP. And if anything is missing, fix that one template this week before you build another one. And if you got a lot of value out of this, leave a comment below. Let me know if you have any questions. Ecstatic to do this. I'm super excited. We'll see you guys in the next video.